Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about using journaling for healing. So for me personally, the healing I'm talking about was after losing babies. It might be that for you, or it might be something entirely different. I honestly believe that journaling was one of the most important things on my road to healing, and I really want to talk to you about how I got into it today, what you can do if you're looking for something to pull you out of that hole that you might be feeling like you're in, or just if you're feeling like you've lost hope. Journaling can really help you get back to it. Before I get into that though, if you're brand new here, welcome. My name is Bettina. I'm a yoga teacher and I specialize in yoga for fertility, pregnancy, birth, and early motherhood. I share videos here that are both a mixture of yoga classes as well as these sort of talking videos where I share what has helped me along my journey, so hopefully it can help you as well. So I really got into journaling after our second loss. So this was our second loss in about 8 months, and I was just feeling like so lost. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know what I was doing with my life anymore. I just felt like all these plans I had just been pulled away from me, and I didn't know where I was going anymore. And I picked up this book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's described as a course in discovering and recovering your creative self. And whether you think about yourself as a creative person or not, or whether you're just looking to kind of get back in touch with who you are, I really think this book is very helpful. So if you haven't already checked this one out, I recommend that. Now, to be entirely honest, I never made it through the whole book. She talks about taking artist dates every week, and there's all these different activities, and it's definitely something I dip in and out of. I haven't ever done it from start to finish, but I think that's because I just, at this point in my life with young kids, I don't have the time. But the most important thing I took out of this was morning pages. So this is one of the things that Julia really recommends, and that is every morning getting up, and the first thing that you do is you just write for 3 full pages, and you don't think about it and you don't edit it, and you just get everything out of your head onto paper. So I'll read you a little bit of what she says about it. I ask you to do this by apparently pointless process I call the morning pages. You will do the pages daily through all the weeks of the course, and I hope much longer. What are morning pages? Put simply, the morning pages are 3 pages of longhand writing, strictly stream of consciousness. Oh God, another morning. I have nothing to say. I need to wash the curtains. Did I get my laundry yesterday? Blah, blah, blah. They may also, more ingloriously, be called brain drain, since that is one of their main functions. There is no wrong way to do morning pages. These daily morning meanderings are not meant to be art, or even writing. I stress that point to reassure non-writers working with this book. Writing is simply one of the tools. Pages are meant to be simply the act of moving the hand across the page and writing down whatever comes to mind. Nothing is too petty, too silly, too stupid, too weird to be included. So the morning pages is really where I started, and I can even remember we were on holiday. We went on this holiday after our second loss. It had been planned for weeks prior. And I remember getting up every morning, and at first there was a lot of resistance to writing every day. I just felt like, I don't want to. I just want to get sucked into that distraction of my phone instead. It felt probably better to do that rather than facing sometimes the hard writing that I wanted to write out. But it really helped me feel a lot lighter. It was like I could put all of these thoughts and feelings on a page, and I didn't need them to swirl around inside of me anymore. Maybe this makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't. But that's how I felt. So over the process of the next 2 years or so, these were my journals from that period. After our second loss, we fell pregnant again quite quickly. It was only a month or so later. And then through the process of having a threatened miscarriage, so I was bleeding, but heartbeat still looked okay. All of the anxiety that came with that. And then through the eventual losing that third baby as well. And then quitting for a period of time. And at that point, I thought we were potentially quitting forever. I couldn't do it anymore. I felt so lost, and honestly, writing it out helped me muddle my way through all of my feelings to come back to myself, my positive, happy self who I was before all of this happened, and found a way to kind of, I guess, reconcile what had happened and that it could be a part of my story. And there's a lot of research. I've done so much reading about this since, that writing it down really does do exactly that. It helps us to process the thoughts and the stories about what's happened to us in a way that even talking to someone else can't. So my writing did actually change slightly. So at first it was that really unstructured morning pages type, just kind of word vomit onto the page. But then it started to become a little bit more focused, where I started really being intentional about what I was writing. So I was trying to call things in. So I really wanted to get focused on what I was trying to create in my life, if I didn't want all this negativity and anxiety, what did I actually want? So I started calling in those positive things, really focusing on gratitude. So what was I grateful for? What was I calling in? What was I working on today? And really getting focused on what I wanted my day to feel like. And I think that's all we can control, just the next day in front of us. We can't control what happens next week, but we do have a lot of power over what happens today. And by getting up first thing in the morning, writing things out, getting all the rubbish out of your head that's been rolling around, and then getting really focused on, okay, this is how I want to feel today. I can let all that go, and this is what I'm going to focus on, rather than sort of tumbling into your day straight into getting ready for work or straight into your phone, which is the worst. And I know I do it at times too, but then I remind myself, no, like this makes you feel so much better. And I get back into that. So if you are brand new to journaling and you want to get started, what I recommend doing, buy yourself a pretty journal. Honestly, going to be more inclined to write if you like what you have to write with. And don't be afraid like I used to be to I'd start a journal and then I'd feel like, oh, that's too messy, I need to start a new one. Just get into it, fill it up. It actually feels really good when you can look back and be like, yeah, I filled that entire book up. So buy something you enjoy writing on and something you enjoy writing with. If you feel like you need some journaling prompts, I'll leave a link below to some journaling prompts that you can work with. Honestly, the best way to get started is that stream of consciousness, but some people feel like they need something to write on. So that can be a great place to start if you want that. I should mention here, the 4th section in my book is all activities for healing from loss. If you wanted to dive a little bit deeper into prompts that are specific to losing a baby, if that's your experience, then I recommend getting this. So there's 40 activities in the back of the book. You might use them over the first 40 days, or you might just use them when you really need something to focus you. So another tip I have for getting started with journaling is to really create some time to do it. So maybe you get up before the rest of your house gets up, create a little bit of a ritual, get yourself your favorite cup of tea or coffee, get settled and just write without any interruption. Try not to have your phone there. It's so tempting to come and check Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, and just get into the writing of what you want to write. Try not to edit it or even read it. I really recommend for a few weeks just getting into the habit of it. You don't want to get caught up in thinking about it. It's really just getting it out of your head. After a little while, you might want to come back and explore, and hopefully you'll start to see there's a little bit of progression going in your writing, where first it might be quite dark and heavy, or maybe even mindless. You might get a little bit deeper as you get into this habit. So stick with it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, of course. I'm happy to help you out. So I found this morning page in my journal. I thought I would read it to you. It's actually my very first morning page that I wrote. So day 1 of morning pages, I have to admit I'm feeling skeptical about whether they might be helpful or just yet another thing I'll have on my list to do. We're down at Mum's today. We're meant to be watching Andrew's last game of footy. I just wish I still had my same drive and motivation for my own life, but I feel empty. Done. I can't even remember what used to make me feel good. I wish there was a guide for this. 7 steps to get out of grieving hell. 15 ways to not want to feel like you want to sleep forever. I feel angry that the last 12 months have been so bad for us. I'm tired. I just want to get out of this hellhole, enjoy life again. I want to be happy with my boys. I want to feel motivated for work, any of it. But instead, I feel like none of it really matters. Does my work help anyone, really? The whole world feels incredibly superficial and irrelevant. And this last sentence is really interesting. I thought my first few entries were very just kind of stream of thought, but it was quite focused. Even at the end, it says, please guide my hand in all things today. I need some direction. So kind of putting out there what I wanted. I have to say also, this writing really helped me when we decided to take a break from trying to conceive, because if any of you have ever done that, it can feel really scary, like you're putting this thing on hold that you want so much, but you're trying to take this mental break from it, and you can sort of find yourself almost cheating, trying to still think about it. But for me, journaling helps me to really take that clean break and to just be like, no, I'm focusing on, you've probably heard me talk about here, my happy list. I wrote that happy list in my journal. It was what I focused on, doing things just to make me happy, to enjoy life again, not for the sake of having another baby, not for my fertility, just to feel good. And that really helped me to just focus on being my happy self again. If you've never tried journaling before, maybe you're in a similar space to me, you're looking for some healing. It doesn't even need to be about losing a baby. Maybe you've just been struggling to conceive. Maybe you are pregnant and you're struggling with the anxiety of that. Then I really suggest give morning pages and give journaling a go. It is so helpful for your brain space, for just your clarity and your focus. and it can really help you unlock some deep healing within you because you honestly have these tools yourself. And I think that process of really focusing and writing helps you to unlock what you already have inside of you. You don't need me to give you this advice. It exists within you. You just have to trust that it's there. If you're interested in more of my story, what these eventually became was my book. So not in its entirety. There were some personal things in there that weren't relevant to my healing, but for the most part, the things that were relevant I have shared in my book. So this is it. It's called Watering the Flowers. The idea of the title, one of the women in my community reached out to me after my third loss and she said, Bettina, you need to stop watering the weeds in your life. So stop focusing on the negative and start watering the flowers. And that essentially is what my happy list became. It was my attempt at watering the flowers in my life, putting my energy and focus on the good things. And so it covers my story from that second loss. So like I said, I started writing after my second loss, through that third miscarriage, through taking a big break and just focusing on myself and healing and coming out the other side. I also share other women's stories in here, some advice from me about the whole process. And then, like I said, at the end, there's journaling prompts and healing activities that you can try as well. So I'll leave the links below for those. If you'd like to purchase the book, there's an international link and an Australian link, depending on where you are. If you'd like any more information, maybe you want to ask a question, please leave it in the comments below or send me an email. I always love to hear from you. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video without this sniffly, snuffly nose that I have today. See you in the next video. Namaste.